is Patricia Estatico. I am attending right now Liberty University psychology, and I'm taking a course called Crisis Intervention. Today I wanted to discuss a crisis. There's many different types of crises, wars, many types of different injuries, trauma things, many different types of crises that people go through. But we're going to talk about car accidents and motorcycle accidents and what they can do. Listen to this. Okay, the question is, what can we do to prevent that? Okay, we all know that car accidents, we don't get into a car expecting an accident. It's something that just happens. It doesn't make a difference, basically, how long you've been driving. It doesn't make a difference, anything like that, okay? Accidents happen because of because of sudden illnesses, because of not proper enough sleep, drinking and driving, texting on the phone. There's just so many different ways that we can get into an accident, and a lot of times it's not something that we might have caused. We could have been perfectly right in an accident, but because someone lost control of a car, or we don't know. We just don't know what happened with that car. What happened before the accident? Did the person get into an argument with their passenger? There's so many different reasons for a car accident to happen, but we can prevent some of those things from happening. And the way we can prevent some of those things of happening is basically realizing that prevention begins before intervention. Okay, they go together. Okay, they go together. We could prevent it from happening if we get enough sleep, if we get enough clearance from our doctors when we're sick. Things happen, and sometimes it's unfortunately. But if we take our measures and change our behaviors, we can avoid certain things. But, it's not the end of the road because a certain thing happens. That's why we have interventions. That's why there's counselors. That's why there's psychologists, to basically to let out. It's to let out, get those feelings out, get those emotions out, find new ideas, new ways to go on and to move on, because these type of crises do change lives. It's not, it can change you physically, spiritually, or mentally. But the main point is to go on, to move on, so we can function at levels, because there's going to be other crises that hit us. So what I want to say is, first, most accidents can be avoided, but no one is exempt or outruled, meaning that accidents will happen to the very best of drivers, okay? Rule number 1 is that we need to ride like a friend and drive like you care. Second rule is to educate yourselves through websites, through schools, programs. Senior citizens have programs, schools have programs. There's programs all over the place. And through our physicians, our doctors have a lot of advice for us. The third rule is to address the behavior. What made this accident happen? Was it that you were sick and you still got behind the wheel? Were we drinking? Were we driving? Were we actually taking a prescription that we shouldn't have been driving with? Did we check our eyesight, near sight, nighttime vision is different. When we get older, it's different than when we're younger. People with multiple sclerosis or different other disorders may have sudden eye change. So we need to constantly check our vision and get medical clearance. Another thing is impaired driving can happen through leakage of hot beverages and smoking cigarettes, or pot or reefer, whatever you want to call it, or being too tired. Being too tired could be just as dangerous as having that drink or smoking behind a wheel. Okay, falling asleep on, people don't realize how serious that can be. Wearing seatbelts. It could be even the person in the back seat. The person in the back seat could be not wearing his seatbelt or her not wearing her seatbelt. Before you know it, they go flying into your neck. When, 100-pound person ends up being a 200 300-pound person when they're flying in the air, and that hits the neck, breaks the neck instantly. I know my ex-husband died that way, okay, left my children fatherless, okay. So it does happen, and it can change lives. It doesn't just change your lives, but it changes everybody's lives around. Speeding. We could be speeding because we're late for work, and we think that 5 minutes is going to make a difference when it really doesn't. Okay, driving emotionally. How many times you may get into a fight with your spouse or your child or a friend or someone just being nasty behind a wheel, beeping their horn or whatever. Road rage is very common, and we need to calm down. We need to pull over, and take a walk if we need to, not into traffic, moving traffic, but we need to emotionally calm down. Okay, finally, we need to show respect and expect respect. All this data comes from the federal government sources. It reduces crashes, reduces injuries, and reduces deaths. Finally, there are programs around today to assist those emotionally hurting from an accident that has left one deceased or severely injured, emotionally, physically, or spiritually. Remember, most accidents can be avoided, but no one is exempt or outruled. If you have experienced this type of trauma in your life, either as a driver or a passenger, there are psychologists and counselors waiting to help you. And remember that you're not alone, or not alone, whether you are a survivor, a parent, or a friend of any kind of accident. You can find help at teendriversource.com. teendrivesource.org, besmart.bewell.com, or americanaddictioncenter.org rehab, okay, or drug-rehab.org.alcohol intervention. That's a non-profit service. There are non-profit services, and there are services that do accept insurance. Okay. I would also like to acknowledge at this time the resources that basically I got my information from. And that's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which is NHTSA, and number 2, Fatal Analyst Reporting Systems, which is FARS. Number 3, the National Automotive Sampling System, which is NASS. And number 5, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, which is CDC. I don't think I did this one. National Motor Vehicle Crash Collision Study. Okay. And then you got number 6, which is Youth Risk behavior surveillance system, which is YRBSS, and finally web-based injury statistics corollary, which is WISQARS, and reporting systems.